radical. There are a lot of women like myself who cringed at third wave feminists. So 2 days ago, I shared my conversation that I was having with this woman named Courtney. She used to actually work with Louder with Crowder, and she considers herself a TradCon woman. And now she says she's been pushed into being a radical feminist. Now, some feminists will actually disagree that she's actually radical and more so just like regular feminist. But also, some of the criticism that she got on my post, which I'm not sure if she read or not, was that she still has some unpacking to do. Now, what I would say to that is we're all on our own timetable in our own journey to unpack years and years of deprogramming. So, some of the things that were in this essay that she wrote were very harsh of women that she considers third wave feminists. You can see that she's still embodying lots of the stereotypes. So I posted a teaser that I was going to talk about how some TradCon women were moving towards being feminist or being pushed more liberal. And some woman said, I wonder if they're going to stop being racist as well. So I jumped into Courtney's inbox and I said, women were wondering about her thoughts on intersectionality, because there's one thing to be a feminist and there's one thing to understand that non-white women have issues that do not always align with white woman feminism. So then Courtney shared this tweet with me. So there's a whole thing on Twitter talking about repeal the 19th, which is repeal women's right to vote. So this is what the tweet says. Repeal the 19th is so popular amongst the faux edgy podcast mic right because it's a much safer line to grift on than repeal the 15th. They never say that if only white women voted. For example, the US would be solid red. They're sexist because they're too scared to be racist. So then Courtney said in regards to that tweet above, so in regards to intersectionality and racism among the right, I'm in a girly group chat with some notable ladies in the media. This is how I'm absolutely sure there's a shift coming when the right wingers, mostly men, but many pick-me's, started their screech to repeal the 19th. We wondered in our group chat if that wasn't code for repeal the 15th. Anna Slatz summed it up in that tweet, the tweet that I just did. And she continues with, as the right wing nuts get bold, those of us who have considered ourselves politically homeless are taking note. I've watched several of Mel Hamlet's videos, and I've heard her say repeatedly that the trad marriages are to perpetuate quite supremacy culture. And I thought at the time, no way, that's so weird, but it planted a seed. That's when that's when I saw the bizarre way that Matt Walsh, I've always hated that guy, talked about his kids and that people should have children to honor their bloodlines. That's just creepy as F. And I don't think that's a good reason to have children at all. But look at how all the white dudes responded to that. Truly gross. And I've seen, I don't know how many people on this app cheering on that Western women, AKA white women, need to have more kids because oppressed women in other countries are. Like they're really concerned we can't have all these brown people making babies. It's disgusting. So now I have to go down another rabbit hole to see how far this goes. A lot of right wing men are very open about wanting large white families, and that's just so disgusting to me. It reeks of the mustache man, and they're not even hiding it. I'm not the only lady observing this. It's very evident that right wing crowds want people in their appropriate boxes. Do you remember a few weeks ago the insanity on Twitter about a Black woman daring to be a pilot? It was so disgusting. The vitriol she got for, checks notes, flying a plane while Black. So, in summary, I'd say this awakening will also include right wing exposing themselves for being real knobs, not just to. It is being noted by the politically homeless, such as myself, and will be on the agenda to tackle. I will also say to this that it is important to plant seeds. This woman is willing to, look at the things that we're saying in the community post and talk back and forth with me. And sometimes it does take planting seeds. If we go all in on her because she hasn't come to the end of the journey, with her eyes wide open and how she talks about people, she might not be willing to, hear other perspectives. That's the reason why, talking in the back to other people that might have different viewpoints is so important. So I've also already told her how some of y'all felt about her language when it was coming to talking about the third wave feminists. I get it. Some of the things that she said, would make everybody recoil. I've planted that seed, but everybody has to be on their journey, how they are on their journey. This woman is a subscriber of mine. She's a subscriber to Mel. So obviously, she's open to hearing people's opinions. We're not going to change everybody from pick me to or trad wife type of woman into, inclusivity overnight. It's just not going to happen. But we got to meet folks where they are on their journey. And I just wanted to show y'all the update because she and I have been talking a little bit on the back end. And I just wanted to let y'all know that other women that are right wing women are, they are getting these seeds planted as well. These men are coming for these women hardcore. These TradCon men are pushing these women to be more feminist than they ever probably would have with us saying anything. So the men are doing the heavy lifting for us. All right, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this exchange. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I am totally entertained by the TradCon men having this conversation. This man, Carl Benjamin, is having a whole discourse about how TradCon men are treating women on Twitter and in their spaces. And he's using this British accent, to spew right wing stuff, but it's mixed in with a tad bit of sensibility and good grammar. It is very amusing, and I have clipped about 5 minutes for you all to enjoy.
Recently seen a great deal of discourse around the subject of the way that right-wing women are treated online by right-wing activists. And this has, from what I've seen, happened mostly on Twitter, which is rarely the best place to have any kind of productive conversation. What's worse is that the conversation about the right-wing conception of the romantic relationships between men and women is not mature, and is being undertaken by people who probably don't actually have all that much experience of them personally, and so have to go from the examples of others. I think that actually I do have some authority on this subject, and I have to say I would never talk to my wife in the way that I see right-wing men online speak to women that they view to be on their own team. And I think that you do build your character by your habits. The conversation, which is what I'm going to generously call it, mostly consists of centre-right women who are essentially 90s liberals in their beliefs, being attacked by the more hardline right-wing Twitter anons. Put simply, this quite unpleasant fiasco basically boils down to the question, is there an honourable place for women on the right? To which the answer had better be yes, or else the right is going to die a painful and embarrassing death of irrelevance, as it alienates half of the population and then wonders why it keeps losing elections. Whatever the repeal the 19th crowd wants in their heart of hearts, women are not about to lose the vote anytime soon. And so shrieking about how degenerate modern women are over and over and over is not going to win you any friends. Whether these people like it or not, whatever it is we call democracy is probably going to be here for the foreseeable future. Women as a voting bloc will matter, and so courting their vote matters. Put simply, if the right doesn't find a way to telegraph its values to women, it is going to continue losing. Moreover, I think that right-wing thought leaders and the Twitter anons who act as foot soldiers for right-wing ideals really need to learn how to regulate their trigger fingers, because I'm seeing a lot of what amounts to friendly fire going on, and I don't think it's decent. The left are actually really good at telegraphing their ideals to young women, which is why they keep winning. They promise women liberation, not from physical constraint, but from shame. It used to be that the things many young women now do openly were done in secret in the past, which kept them to a tolerably minimum level, because people used to take a dim view of such activities, and this reduced their proliferation. However, now, it is completely normal for women to simply be indecent on a daily basis, and not consider what they do to be morally questionable at all. This kind of dress in the gym, for example, is practically a whore's uniform. It is as maximally revealing as it is possible to be, advertising all the goods, as it were. And when objected to, the person objecting becomes accused of being a pervert of some kind, as if perversion itself isn't widely celebrated. And that is to say nothing of what the OnlyFans generation posts on the internet. Even the things that young women post that aren't pornography seem positively indecent. I can't even imagine how strange and bewildering such messaging is for young men who are just arriving into manhood. If women post this sort of stuff in public, what does it say about how they want to be treated in private? And it's hard to believe that the debauched nature of the modern woman isn't directly connected to the surge of red pill content creators, as this state of affairs clearly isn't fair on young men. All of the onus to behave decently has been placed on young men, while young women are encouraged to be as libertine as they please. While I wouldn't call them right-wing necessarily, many of the red pill critiques rest on traditionalist priors, which have been formulated into a set of principles extracted from the lived realities of the generations which came before them. The problem, when general behaviors are abstracted into principles to be dogmatically parroted at people on the internet, is that it all takes on a very artificial tone, and just comes across as mean-spirited. Twitter warriors browbeating young women who don't hate men for not being what amounts to willing domestic slaves is not exactly a winning argument, and the hypermasculine way that this presents itself must only be off-putting for any other young woman who is looking at the left with a skeptical eye and is curious on where else she might find social acceptance and guidance as she moves through her life. The Twitter Anons don't come across as rugged, competent, heroic warrior monks who will protect their women from the wolves when they're purity testing women on Twitter. They come across like resentful and terminally online incels, whether that is what they are or not. And I would venture that most of the young men behind these Twitter accounts are actually not incels, but they also do not have what they most desire, a loving wife and family. And this isn't a slight against them. Society is set up for them not only to fail, but to suffer in the process, to be humiliated, to slog through life as a single white male dog's body, carrying the privileged minority classes above them while they are tongue-lashed by their burden about their privilege. It's a terrible thing, and I do not blame them at all for being angry with this situation, and it isn't surprising that they have arrived at the point where they are not willing to regulate themselves over the issues. However, it's unhealthy to see women as the enemy. I'm not saying that modern women are necessarily respectable, but acting as if women just need to be put into a Handmaid's Tale situation is not appealing for most of them, actually, and doesn't tend to bring them around to a right-wing way of thinking. And I really don't respect the argument that Twitter is a male-coded gladiatorial arena in which women have no business either. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter at all. Everyone who wants to be part of the dialogue uses Twitter. If you want to have male-only spaces in which people can engage in verbal sparring matches, go ahead, but Twitter isn't a male-only space. It's a very, very public space, and as I have learned firsthand, you should watch what you say on it very carefully, because everyone can and probably will see it.
So on my Twitter page, I shared his video and I said, I, as a feminist, love watching the TradCon men sneak on women. I've been screenshotting everything and making YouTube videos about it. Keep it up, men, because women need to see this. Women need to be deprogrammed from them because they literally can't stand women unless those women are basically parroting everything. Women aren't allowed to have opinions when they are part of these TradCon groups. And while they continue to demonize feminism, making it like we don't believe in shame and are all about just going to the gym wearing revealing clothes, I mean, they could keep making that to be feminism instead of, us wanting women to be safe, secure, and have opportunities. They could keep pushing it, but their women are seeing firsthand that they aren't allowed to have opinions. Lilith, Lilith's disciple said, they are removing so much work off the shoulders of feminists. And I appreciate that. I appreciate them for going at women the way that they do. I applaud the TradCon men, the red pillars, the manosphere, the evangelicals. I thank them for their hard work. Josh says, good video. I've warned people of this for years and people don't want to hear it. Red pill men are anti-divorce, pro-cheating, anti-child support, pro-baby. They want women to give them everything they want with nothing in return, not even a sense of security or basic respect. And they are loud with it. They are very much all of the things that Josh just said. Black Horse says, of course there is, as wives, mothers, caregivers working in various roles during non-child raising years, but critically, it is a depoliticized place. Women, like the vast majority of men, have no place in official politics. So basically, stay in your lane as a bang maid incubator. This is the reason why women are saying, nope, I don't want to just be that. Not all women just want to be that. That's why I like Black Horse in them just talking. We are going to have to talk about how Matt Walsh is kind of freaking out about the birth rate numbers, and he's making it about TARP being enacted in corn. But he's like a lot of theories to explain this, but it's very clearly like 98% of corn, talking about the birth rate declining, because all of this goes hand in hand. They want more babies, they want women to talk less, they don't want women to actually have opinions. All of this goes hand in hand. And then yapping is just going to make women continue to clamp down on them wombs. So this screenshot was from a general social survey, and it's talking about the number of men under 30 who still say that they still have their V cards. And here's Matt Walsh with his theories. Cornhub was created in 2007. It was nearly at that moment that male V cards tended to trend up dramatically. This is not a coincidence. Cornhub and the iPhone both came out in 2007, and that's when everything changed. So these people will do anything except tell men to be decent people. Nope, we got right wingers that are just still spouting, talking mess about women every single day. They will do everything except be decent. And then they wonder why men are getting less peaches. Less peaches. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. There's more to come. So many treasures on Twitter.